starting my obligatory tour of the lake. Mine will be kind of shortened. I don't want to see a lot of things that I have already seen before. Just the experience. You see all the boats that are competing for the tours. I think far more boats than tourists per day at least. And down there is where we went to look at the tomato market yesterday. Interesting to notice these long channels. They're all filled in with vegetation. Whether that's part of the farming process of this delta for the Inle Lake, I don't know. A long channel, probably a river that takes us into Inle Lake. Coming up to a photo shoot of fishermen surrounded by tourist boats. Time to record anything here. They're harvesting some kind of grass or whatever from the bottom. What it's used for, I don't know at this point. place, or are the bases just for some kind of trellis later on in the growing season? Probably crates of tomatoes. Now we're approaching apparently another village. How much this has been made into a tourist display at this point, I don't know. Go poles. And then the trellis is there. My guess is that they're holding tomatoes. You see it's row after row after row. See, that's floating just by the way it's wobbling with the waves. Pretty cool aquaculture. Sizable, well-established community here. Post office. We're into another main channel, continuing in that general southeast direction. We're apparently taking another side trip into this village. And everything you see around here is all floating. That's what's amazing about it. So knowing your way around here is the real interesting thing. I think about navigating the Everglades with my kayak, and this guy's doing it with this giant rig. It's full power, almost full power. Here you can see how these are laid out, and you can see how there's new plantings going in right there and there. Tomatoes growing on the vines. You can see this mud that's probably overlaying some other kind of mesh material. There are a whole bunch of seedlings growing there of something. Here we have a man using that unique leg rowing technique.
Tomato. Oh, Mingalaba.
Mingalaba. Guessing he turned off his engine so he could have a conversation with those folks, or out of courtesy for the man who had to row his boat. I'm hoping my boatman has picked up on the idea I don't like being around tourists if I can avoid it. So we are not. This looks like very substantial land, like where those reeds are and where those palm trees are growing. You can see some idea of how they build up an island. See that dirt right there, and I'm guessing that somehow they harvest that, as we saw on the side of that hill, and bring it in and dump it here and create their floating islands. And maybe with those posts going down like that, it's not floating anymore, it's tied right into the bottom of this lake. Close up of laundry day. Notice the detergent there. And here you can see probably more traditional vegetables grown on this plot, and this is probably how the one we just looked at is going to look like once it gets filled in with dirt completely. Here's a good example of the modern world. Lady on her cell phone, man paddling. You can see here that there are bags, and I think those people were filling the bags, and that creates the ballast there holding that soil together. On the other hand, that may be cement, but I doubt it. That'd be too expensive. We're looking at more than just dirt in there. I think there may be either rocks, I can't tell for sure, or it may even be large chunks of wood. You can see a pretty nice trellis system. Some kind of plywood, I believe. I don't know what it is. Some kind of pitch in between there. Looks like that these are pretty much straight walls like that going down to the apex of the chine at the bottom. Looking beneath the water surface, it looks like that is in fact an island, and it may be. So after some kind of repairs, we're rolling. Stopped at, I think, a friend's place, but maybe just a friendly place to stop. A pretty substantial chunk of land over here, I think, although that huge building is all mostly on islands. Pretty substantial building. You see these little devices that's blue in here. Sometimes they hold a little bowl. This is Hong Ming something or other. Made some paper. Oh, from this? What kind of tree?
Tree.
This is the tree. Oh, and this is the
Tapak. Nabalipak.
Pali?
Nabali.
Papadi. And here's how they make a design out of the paper. Finished design right here. Very pretty. It says they take that tree and they pound the bejesus out of it here until they end up making a paste. And then from the paste, they then, yeah, you're seeing it there. And then they lay their form, which is the thing she's working on right there, which is really kind of a, like a muslin. He's making it tight. Place that form in here and then spread out that mash that she creates all over it to make the paper. Theoretically an umbrella workshop here somewhere amidst all of the tourist debris. Whether these are used to make umbrellas or not, I don't know. Oh, this is probably for fans here. Nope, here's the umbrella here. He's making a small umbrella there. Different size slats for, obviously, different diameter umbrellas. And these are some of the finished versions, and this may be that paper. Yeah, I think it is, yeah. And of course, if they use different colors, then they get different color umbrellas, such as this, or these. And pretty as they are, if you're going directly home, probably make a nice decoration. An old-fashioned lathe, as you can see. Mentioned by having that bamboo stretched up there and sprung down from this beam here. There's a tension on this, considerable tension. And then the rope that he just pushes down, probably with his feet, from that side, and works it with these chisels here. This, maybe even that turning, and turnings like this one here. Tools, look at how rough that saw is, how long it's been in operation. Maybe primitive, but it works. Right there that he just took off, that little part right there is what he's making. Ah yes, and there's that little part right there. We find the simplest method of weaving fabric, although frankly it'd be interesting if archaeologists and anthropologists have divined yet how many eons it took to develop this technique. Notice these people are not from locally around here, but from another community, I believe. Notice how that fits around her waist to provide tension, and she can create more tension by pushing her feet against those blocks. Here you see that technique of putting rings around the neck, and then you keep adding rings as this young girl has rings being added over time. As my man's working on the boat, I'll take a chance to, or opportunity to walk through the village, and I kind of go around this direction and end up over at that religious complex. And here we have a series of cement walkways, you can see obviously, and hopefully there's a bridge. This mechanical breakdown may become a very nice opportunity for me to get a little more intimate. Huh, tourist, damn. That lady's involved in a homestay, and more power to her on that one. It's probably a great experience. Here we are. This is an interesting view. As the camera pans to the right, notice the different colored, as well as the different colored stupas in different degrees of shape or condition. I think entering a pile of stupas for the first time, I wonder at my continuing interest in exploring these sites, when it seems after a while, probably more so to you than me, incredibly redundant. But what you're looking for, what I'm looking for, is what's novel, or what do I see that seems to me to be novel. Examples, stupas that are beautifully painted gold, and yet the others seemingly ignored. Here one with a totally different color. Does that reflect someone's imagination? Or is there a religious implication to that? Notice they carry a plaque indicating who gets the merit for this. Sources of pollution and the greenhouse effect. Here, this one almost toppled over, but not quite yet. The top part is, but it's crumbling. There, scaffolding for repairing that one. In this niche just to make sure that Buddha's here, or restored. You can see that these are made of brick. This is that brick. Here we can see very well the slow disintegration of such a stupa. Here it could be the subsidence of this land that we're on. Was that a rebuilt brand new one or restored one? And they go on. This will be very pretty when it's all finished. This is interesting because it almost looks like a monastery with a bunch of stupas on top. It was apparently the main original structure with its entry arcades, if you will. All the rest of these stupas and pagodas plopped in here to benefit from the association. Imagine that in 5 or 6, 10 years, they will have improved all this and it'll become much more of a resource for tourists, and this will be packed with people. They end up at a series of little shops that purport and do have, as we saw a little while ago, original craftsmen to at least lure us in. Here some flowers or plants left by people, and a natural flower apparently. I think that's our building over there, or to the left of it. It's interesting that these three are apparently left to just simply disintegrate. Close-up view of the disintegration, the elimination of the grout in between, as well as the shaking from either subsidence or from earthquakes. Here's someone at least went up on that one for some purpose. This should be the temple. We'll take a look inside. Can't go in if we can get a picture from here, good. Otherwise, no dice. Picked the wrong door to enter. Here we see that midpoint that's of the column, and it's painted as opposed to the other one I saw in in Mandalay, which I can't be sure how it was done. This is very detailed work. These you can actually buy on the street, these large thrones, perhaps for a Buddhist monk of higher stature to give his reflections. They don't preach, apparently. They're an even more impressive seat that I don't think you can buy off the street. There's some kind of cistern. Looks like it may still be used. So hopefully we're ready to go. Believe it or not, it was the muffler that needed fixing. You think that's called fixing? You think that's called a muffler? Accent on the word showroom. Okay.
Yeah, this for original silver.
Oh, silver.
Yeah, silver rock material. To this door inside for many metal combined. A lot of we make inside for iron, zinc, aluminum, copper, silver. Yeah, this don't find this for northern part of Shan State, number 2 city, near Mandalay division. This don't find this.
Silver.
Silver mine, yeah. It's in silver.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh.
for you. Yeah, no problem. No expensive.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this make for this stone. We make take separate to other metal, separate to the Mandalay. The train also separate to danger in everybody. A little far in the city, we put for this stone pounder. We put inside for the silver pounder and then to on the fire.
Iron.
Yeah, iron.
America.
Yeah.
And these are bowls. This one is not the traditional, that's the traditional one. And
Yeah.
in here they would have salt and other condiments on here in the center of the table. So there's me on Monday for Tiger.
Yeah.
The
From
soap
a tree. Yeah.
is what they use for polishing.
Yeah, we make for polishing. Same thing.
So here are some of the tools of what is done here.
Pillow on the shoulder.
Oh yeah, bellows, yeah.
And then they will make for this pillow is the on the fire
Right.
is there to melt.
So this cup that he's heating up actually is going to be used for cleaning the silver to get the black off of it. And these men clean it and polish it with acacia soap, a traditional soap used even amongst the old people in Myanmar for washing clothes.
The first to make it for silver, again to powder for hammer, and then to make a lot of side to like this side for stopping to make out for again wire side.
Could be used, you start with a big hole and then you progressively pull it through with those pliers and then keep going smaller and smaller holes till you get the diameter you want.
But he made out for
Right.
different side.
Yeah, bet. Ah, yes.
He make for silver wire is made out for fish body. Now ought to call in full moon. Full moon design. This full moon design is
Decoration that you might get as an earring if you bought it is made from very thin wire and then turned around like that very tightly.
One
Like
day
that
in
might
the
make
city,
make 2 hours to make something like that.
idea for grandfather about for 16 years ago to make out for this for number 1 idea for 2 design. This one
look
for
at that.
swimming design.
Yeah.
This one for German design. This for my grandfather idea number 1.
Oh, this is German, this is yours.
And male or female.
No.
This for male.
Ah, okay.
This for German fish for
Oh,
female.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
To make out for 1 fish, to make it for time out for 1 day and 5 hours.
1 day and 5 hours,
Yeah,
day and a
too
half.
small size for the 6 o'clock to make a different size for the 2 elephant ring. About 15 years ago, we make for this elephant to make for movie elephant. Yeah, can we try everybody?
For bracelets using the full moon, and these are ideas of his grandfather that have become the tradition now. He takes those little teeny weeny links and links them together. That's detailed work. She has explained to me is that this is the made in the market, and it's actually copper covered with some silver. And the way you test, whereas this is their product, which is all silver, and the way you test it is you rub this one like a sharp area on a stone, and it'll turn red for the copper. But if you do that with this one, it'll be silver because it's silver. Their machine, we're making ribbon. Had our man Skip going to the next silk shop, and here we're at a traditional house that now functions as a hotel. And this is a unique display apparently of what's called Burmese cats. They do have a singular look about them. They are healthy and sleek brown coats. A traditional Burmese house. I think of a wealthy person, if in fact it is such as they represent it to be, but I'll go upstairs and see. This is the front door of the upstairs. Fortunately, it just seems like a hotel. This is part of this complex. It may be a resort complex, I don't know, but at least we get a look at how some of the small plot farming is done. So this is super glitched for the tourist. The entry hall here is mostly giant pieces of tile, as you can see. You can buy gold leaf to put on the Buddhas. And each little piece of gold is 5,000 kyat. Says that this has been done with large tiles. I don't think this is all that old, although some core of it may be. Here Buddhists gain merit by putting that gold leaf they just bought on those, I guess they're little Buddhas that are all bulged out from the gold that's been laid on them. All around the circumference are pictures, I assume, from Buddha's life. How old these are, how long they've been here, I don't know. Some look very old, some don't look old at all. Some of their images of myth and their religion. This does not bode well. This is Buddha under the Bodhi tree. I think it's one of three main Buddhas. In other words, one of three transitionary points in the life of Buddha. People put their gold leaf on and then take a picture of that gold leaf. Guess that this monastery's foundation was laid down in 1314. Opening ceremony was held in 1317. Notice the temple-like structure that sits above Buddha with 7 tiers, the maximum number of tiers that you can have. It's either 7, 5, or 3. There are probably pictures of the men who were the leaders of this monastery. A few paintings look like they're quite old. Don't know. The ones above are quite cartoonish, which is fine because that makes understanding simple. These are far, far more elaborate. Almost an impressionist style, at least Gauguin-like in the upper portion of trees and so forth. I have a clue what I'm talking about. Even by the back door, I'm over in that shed, I believe, is a very large boat. Figure out how to navigate over to there. Okay, so here we go to this big float. All about pageantry. Big Bird lives. You can imagine that's pretty spectacular. It's the leading float in a large pageant of all the boats in the area, whatever the celebration would be. A couple of nagas. Boats look like they're designed to be used in parallel, perhaps to hold even grander floats than what we just looked at. Another float along the same idea, but more modest, smaller. There is an important personage of the area. Going back to see his friend, where he's made his first attempt to fix the muffler.
Ê, Mimi. Bây giờ mà.
Có phần lâu bị ở chứ. Phần lâu cái thế. Phần lâu là. Cây có thế. Lên lên được mà. Chưa thấy hai cái giờ rồi này à.
You see?
Nè, sẽ đi nè, sẽ cho. Sẽ cho nè nè.
Bà quan nó bên đó bà quan. Họ có tổ có. Là nhiều rồi.
Notice how that's joined together up there. They run a bamboo piece or some kind of wood through there and then rest that post on. That becomes the support. The noses down below, they also put posts, as you can see on the ground, and then reverse it. They have the sticks above the bamboo so that those posts can't sink any deeper. Inside there's one large room where the windows are open, and then this room here in the corner is a room, I think, for sleeping. It takes place right in that tented area. So we're trenching now. Don't know if it's because the beetle nut that he's got in his mouth. Just had a lovely visit with his family. This is the traditional fishing in this area. You can't see it yet. But what he's doing, that's a spear that's going down inside of a mesh cone that he has down there. Probably attached to that spring. Check it out. And he hopes that there's a fish in there, and if it is, he'll know when he hits it. The water's not very deep right there. There's some plants right there, so the fish are within 3 or 4 feet. Sometimes you'll see 2 or 3 fishermen together, and they'll be slapping the water with a pole in a circle. And what that's doing is pushing the fish towards that net area where the net's going to be placed. And then when they've done that, and they think the fish have kind of concentrated, then they drop that big net down. I don't exactly know what these folks are doing. Fishing, obviously. What the strategy is, I don't know. Fishing with a net. He's using that technique of rowing with his foot in 2 minutes, hopefully. I see him working that net out on some kind of a stick, I think. Hopefully we can see this man fishing, because there's the big cone that they use. I could do that on my kayak. That would be a real coup. Down in the market, and it's shutting down. I think it's probably 2:30, 3 o'clock. This one little restaurant is open to serve the people who still remain here, and others like me that just walk in. So I'd like to have lunch in the marketplace at one of these places because it's easy enough to do, and she and I finally figured out that I don't like fish, but I can eat the noodles, and so she's cooking some noodles over there, and she's going to throw some vegetables into me, and here it comes. The things I always try to do, if I can, I don't always succeed, is get my food piping hot. Sometimes, as you've seen from earlier clips, I do, and sometimes I don't.